Guys, we're back at the TerraCycle booth with a good friend of ours, Jonathan Garcia. Jonathan, how are you doing?
Good, I'm doing great.
So, Rose City Recumbents in Portland is where Jonathan is usually hanging out, but he brought one of these amazing Mystiques with him, and we want to talk to him about that today. So, Jonathan, tell us a little bit about what you brought and what's going on with the Mystique.
So the Mystique, we're going into our end of our second year that we've had them, but luckily this is the first time we've been able to bring it to a trade show. So a lot of people, it's the first time they've been able to see it. Mm-hmm. They've been selling really well, but people need hands-on test rides, so we've been able to do that, which is exciting to hear the feedback from the different riders. Yeah.
Well, let's talk basics first, if we can, and refresh for those of our viewers maybe don't know too much about the Mystique. Tell us the basics, some of the features, how it's a little bit different than other two-wheeled recumbents.
Sure. So the Mystique was designed for riders that are, I don't say racers, but riders that want a very powerful platform, a very stable platform. So some of the things we did is we incorporated new technology to recumbents, but technology from upright bikes. Mm-hmm. So one example is the tapered head tube that allows us to run like a modern fork, like this fork here. That hasn't happened in the recumbent industry as much. It's just starting to trickle in. The other thing, it has through axles. So through axles make it a lot stiffer, especially in the back. When you have a through axle, it can give that one-piece feel to the back. So it also allows you to run like in the rear, 10, 11, or 12 speed, which wasn't really, the 11 and 12s weren't really available for other applications. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. The next thing is I designed it so that it had a real firm ride up and down, so to speak, so the power gets to the ground, but it's smooth all around. One way we achieve that is having the rider's head, even if he lays back ahead of the rear axle. So all those little things add up to a very smooth ride. Also, I spent a lot of time on the front end here, just getting the front end the minimum height we could do and still have clearance for even the big tires and heel clearance. Mm. So there was a lot of thought that was put into it. One of the things we really worked on is the overall height of it, so that even a shorter rider, when it's moved forward, they're not, like on a stick bike, you're always higher if you're shorter. So this is to accommodate the shorter riders too. The clearance for the big tires, which is what we're bringing in from the influence of the gravel bikes and the upright world. And so I think that's a required thing now, so you can run the newer modern tires. So think of a modern recumbent, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And one of the beautiful things about recumbents and recumbent riders is they appreciate the older stuff, but it's time to move ahead. It's time to bring in the stuff that's existed for 10 or 15 or 20 years.
It's like the 21st century now, isn't it?
Yeah, and apply that.
Right.
And I get accused sometimes of just liking the new stuff, and that's not even true. I have a huge collection of bikes, part of what I tested to make this bike.
Well, I mean, Jonathan, there's a reason, there's a purpose for the upgrades. It gives you more options that you can use with today's components, really.
Exactly,
I mean, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, you have access to the nicer wheels, you have access to the nicer tires, you're not limited to 23Cs, and so it's accommodating, just like, John Schlitter's bike, the Freestyle, it's the same. It's like the concept of being able to put it together like you want is a positive thing. There's so many fewer two-wheel riders, and it's nice to modernize that so they feel like they're getting attention too.
What if I'm interested in getting a closer look at the Mystique, maybe a test ride, or just getting online and purchasing? Is that how it's done?
Yeah, so you can go to Rose City Recumbents or our online site, which is newagebikes.com. In both those places, they're available. Generally, they come into the U.S. as a frame set, and then I build them up for people based on the gearing they want. There's so many, I really pay attention to the region they're from. So we gear specifically for different customers. If they're in Pennsylvania, I spoke to someone today and he needed just this really wide range. And now, because of the compact cranks and all these cranks that are coming out, you can do that. You can get these huge gear spreads, and that's what I try to accommodate. So
especially like for touring and that type of thing, yeah?
Touring, light touring. This frame, I would consider it the strongest of the high racers because it went 3 times the mountain bike standard in cycles on the stress test, and still didn't break. So we know it went 350,000 cycles. So that's more than anyone. A lot of manufacturers don't test, so I can't say it's the strongest, but I can say it's pretty strong.
Stands on its own.
Yeah.
All right. Great. So the website and Rose City Recumbents is the
Yeah,
place
and we can sell a frame set to you with consultation, of course, to get the right parts, or we can. I can build it up to you and I ship it to you, which is really the way it usually happens.
You need the consultation, and I can't think of a better guy to have a consultation about anything recumbent than this guy right here, Jonathan Garcia. Thank you so much. It's great talking to you and great seeing you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.